Greetings, everybody out there in the YTPC. Gonna do a little tin opening, first impressions. You know, I've had a really bad, some kind of like sinus infection or something, and it's weird. It just completely blocked my ability to taste the tobacco. It's happened to me once before, but I think I was on antibiotics or something, and they warned me that it would destroy. And actually, I couldn't taste anything either. This time, it was just the tobacco. Everything tasted well. Food didn't taste quite as good as it usually does. Your taste buds are so weird. You can taste, sweet, salty, savory. There are a few things you taste with your tongue. Everything else comes from your sense of smell, even with food. And so if your sense of smell is messed up, you'll be able to taste food, but it might not be quite as good or complex or rich. It just loses a lot of the character. The thing about tobacco is that tobacco loses all the character because our tongue doesn't do much of any of the tasting. I think some of the sweetness in Virginia's, there are a few things that we taste with our tongue. The rest of it all comes through the olfactory senses. So you may not even realize it until you light up and you go, oh my God, this tastes terrible. Where is everything? Where is the flavor? And that's what I've been going through for the last few days. It's been kind of a nightmare. Anyway, it's back, pretty much. So I'm just excited to get into one of my new blends I haven't tried yet. Now, the last aromatic that I tried really, it was a lot to compete with. It was Molto Dolce, and it was so good. That was actually the last thing I reviewed. It was so good. Just an incredible smoke, and I really enjoyed it. I really loved it. In fact, I'm going to do a full review about it pretty soon. I don't expect this to quite be like that again, but I'm hoping. I did find something that sounds pretty interesting. It's a Peterson luxury blend. So this is a smooth and exotic blend of 3 different Virginias, Cavendish, and Burley, with a fabulous aroma of orange, honey, and a touch of vanilla. That is very similar to the description of Molto Dolce, so I'll be interested to compare this, actually. Who knows? Maybe it'll be similar. Maybe it'll be nothing like it. One of the things I've noticed, I have tried a few of the Peterson aromatics, and to me, they feel similar to a lot of aromatics. They're just kind of, tobacco with a really sweet candy, casing, and they're good. They're good, but I don't know. We'll see. So here we go. I'm gonna pop. There we go. Pop that. Not sure how old this is. I'm pretty sure it's brand spanking new. I don't think there's any age on it or anything. It's an aromatic anyway. Yeah, it smells fruity. It smells very fruity. I'm gonna try to not talk about Molto Dolce, but I gotta say, like, that's the thing. Molto Dolce doesn't smell fruity. Doesn't really smell like any other aromatic at all. Like it just has its own thing. That's what was so surprising about it. Just really something. Now, I have tried a few of these kind of really fruity aromatics. This reminds me a bit. The smell reminds me a bit of Nutty Cut, which is I also believe also Peterson. I'm not sure why, but I got a whole bunch of Petersons all at once. I don't really remember. I don't know. I don't think I realized how many Petersons I was getting all at once, but I got a bunch of them. I think some of this was recommended by Bremen Pipe Smoker. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I just know that a lot of Peterson ended up in my wish list, and that ended up getting ordered, and now I have like several tins of different Petersons either open or waiting to be opened. So, yeah. I smell the fruit. Smell a little bit of tobacco smell in there too. That's good. You know, sometimes it's like all you get is fruit. So here's the tobacco. The lighting is kind of meh in here, but sorry. A lot of spotlights. It's hard to well, what's going on is the contrast is really crazy because I had the lights in here are very bright. This room is lit, like each one of those lights behind me is like 100-watt equivalent. So there is like, I don't know, 1,000 watts of equivalent. They're LEDs, but you know, of light behind me. So it's a very, very bright room. And what happens is that it hits the whites and just everything blows out, and anything that's slightly dark just gets lost. I don't have a whole lot of bounce light in here. So anyway, but yeah, it's just kind of it looks like an aromatic. You know, you can see a lot of, I'm guessing that's Cavendish, the black Cavendish in there. It's not too goopy, actually. Feels soft, like it's kind of moist, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad at all, and it's not really particularly sticky either. So that's interesting. I'll go ahead and load it up in my BPK Church Warden. Let's see how this smokes. You've got a lot of flavor to live up to, Peterson. This is going to be an interesting comparison to Molto Dolce, which is also a honey-based tobacco, honey-based aromatic blend. Also has vanilla. A lot of the same. It's very, very similar description. It's going to be interesting to kind of light this up and see a more traditional aromatic. You know, kind of see how that compares. I guess I'm kind of looking forward to going back and forth a little bit, you know, smoking both, seeing what the differences are, because this really feels more like a traditional aromatic. It doesn't really smell that different than other aromatic blends I have. Certainly seems like a kind of a typical Peterson. Got some strong, very nice, delicious vanilla flavoring right there on the light, so that's nice. Often the light is just kind of harsh and you don't taste anything, so it's cool. That's cool. I like that. Scorched it. Now we'll see if we can get it to light. Doesn't have that crackly action. It's a nice flavor. Gotta say, that is a nice flavor, though. Yeah. Tasting the vanilla. Tasting that honey, too. And that's nice. Usually you just kind of taste vanilla with these vanilla aromatics. It's just sort of bathed in vanilla, and it's a very one-note flavor. This has a little bit of something else going on there with the honey. But as is typical with aromatics, probably would behave a bit better if I had left it out for a few minutes. That was interesting. Actually flamed up. Well, yeah. It has a really pleasant flavor. It's not quite as fruity as I thought it would be, which is good. I'm not actually that big a fan of the sort of super fruit based aromatics with the, not much of a cherry tobacco guy. And this isn't really all that fruity. It smells a lot fruitier than it tastes. Yeah. It's a pleasant, the vanilla and honey is really nice, I gotta say. I think I like this a little better than the other Petersons. It's not bad. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's not really a whole lot to say about it. It's an aromatic. It's not complicated. But between the nutty cut, which was good, a little more fruity than I usually like. I thought it would be more like nutty. Call me crazy. Called nutty cut. It turned out to be very, very fruity. A lot of like raisiny and I don't know, just berries, kind of generic kind of flavor of berries in there. I only gave it the one. Well, I think I've had a couple smokes off of it. It's not. It's but it wasn't quite what I thought it would be. I think. And I forget which other one I've opened, but I haven't opened another one. So I've had a few of these Petersons, and they're nice. They're nice aromatics. But I think I enjoy the vanilla honey mixture that they've got going here over some of the others that I've tried. I mean, I would say of the Petersons, this would be my favorite so far. May not be fair to Nutty Cut because I haven't tried it that much. But my impression is this is a little bit more up my alley. That is just a really delicious combination, the vanilla and the honey. And the nice thing about the Petersons is that if you get used to those, brick and mortar aromatics. You go in there and they've got all these super sweet, you know, custom mixtures. Some of them are just going to be Sutliff and Lane Limited stuff renamed. But some of them can be really strong, you know, really kind of almost sickly sweet. And the nice thing about the Petersons is they're not really like that. I think you can kind of enjoy them as tobacco. And appreciate that little bit of flavor that comes out the end, you know, that you get in the background. I think it's a little bit more of a relaxed, not so in your face, dare I say sophisticated aromatic. But I wouldn't put it in the category of like Virginia Cream or Eileen's Dream, where I personally taste a lot of Virginia, sweet Virginia in there. And the aromatic is paired with the Virginia. And they kind of go hand in hand. They're not, you know, the tobacco itself is not drowned out by the sweet flavor of the aromatic. But I think it might have a lot to do with this having some burley in it. It feels a little bit more like burley. I don't really taste the Virginia so much. Not yet, anyway. And looks like that black Cavendish. I'm assuming this is, you know, typical American black Cavendish, not the unsweetened kind, because well, I mean, it's an aromatic. It's trying to be sweet. But it has that kind of, that flavor of a burley based aromatic, you know, where it's like fairly smooth but somewhat featureless smoky flavor. And I apologize if I'm not portraying burley in the best light, but I think burleys are one of those tobaccos that you can get these really delicious, nutty, you know, burleys, but a lot of burley used in aromatics is, you know, fairly devoid of flavor that I can detect anyway. Whereas Virginia Cream and Eileen's Dream, the reason I bring those up, those are tobaccos where I really taste the sweet Virginia, and it really comes out along with the sweet flavor of the topping or the casing. It ends up being more of a tobacco connoisseur's sort of blend. Whereas I would put this more in the category of someone who is not so much into Virginias, is not so much into the flavor of tobacco, and is more into, you know, wanting that sweet, that sweet, you know, just a little bit of smoke with that sweet casing. Now, if I smoke this long enough, I might start to pick up on more of the Virginia flavor. I almost want to say that I can taste something, but I feel like I'm just tasting the sweetness of the casing. Anyway, there you go. If you enjoy a vanilla aromatic and you want something maybe a little bit different, a little bit more complex, that honey, I think, takes vanilla into a much more interesting kind of delicacy sort of realm. Adds a little bit more tang. I think it's pretty delicious. And the more I smoke it, the more I can say, you know, there is a very similar taste here to Molto Dolce. It does have that sort of honey vanilla combination flavor that Molto Dolce has. But somehow, I feel like I'm not bathed in it the way I am with Molto Dolce. Now, I mean, it's hard to explain how that works because it's not a very strong tobacco. You're not really hit in the face exactly with sweetness, Molto, but you are just kind of seeped in this. It feels seeped in this honey, vanilla, mild honey vanilla, you know, richness. It's really the only way I can explain it. It's rich rather than being, you know, overly sweet. Whereas this, very similar, just I would say not quite as rich. Not quite as rich. So, if you enjoy aromatics and especially if you enjoy vanilla, I would definitely recommend adding this to your collection because I do think that honey adds a bit of an interesting twist to the vanilla, typical vanilla, you know, smoke. But I would also say grab you some Molto Dolce and see if you're, you know, see for yourself. It's cheap stuff. It's only like an ounce and a half, so it's not even, you know, 1.76 or 2 ounces. It's Molto for some reason is sold slightly lower in quantity, and it's always really cheap. So, you know, if you're into these kinds of flavors, you know, grab yourself a tin of this Peterson luxury blend, and grab yourself a tin of Molto Dolce, and maybe try them out and see which one you like for yourself. That would be my recommendation. Either way, though, the flavor of vanilla and honey is, I mean, you can't go wrong. It's good stuff. Land of milk and honey. Okay. Well, that's been my review. I won't take up any more time with this. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to be back very soon. So until next time.